Once upon a time, in a small village surrounded by green fields, gentle hills, and tall trees, there lived an old grandmother in a simple cottage at the edge of the village. She did not own much, but she was known by everyone for her cheerful attitude and peaceful smile. Her closest companion was a friendly white goat that followed her wherever she went. Every morning, before the sun fully rose, she would feed the goat, sweep the yard, and take long walks through the countryside. While many villagers spent their days worrying about problems and complaining about things they lacked, the grandmother always focused on what she had. She believed that every day brought a new opportunity, and that a positive mind could find solutions even in difficult times. One year, however, the village faced a terrible drought. The rivers became smaller, the ponds dried up, and the crops in the fields began to wither under the hot sun. Fear spread throughout the village as farmers worried about losing their harvests and families wondered how they would survive. The villagers gathered daily to discuss their troubles, and many believed there was no hope left. Yet the grandmother refused to give up. Instead of sitting at home and worrying, she continued walking through the fields with her goat, searching for any sign of opportunity. One afternoon, the goat wandered toward a rocky hill covered with bushes. Curious, the grandmother followed. To her surprise, she discovered a hidden spring of fresh water flowing between the rocks. The spring was small but steady, providing enough water to help many villagers care for their animals and gardens. The villagers were amazed and praised her good fortune, but the grandmother simply smiled. She explained that if she had spent her days worrying like everyone else, she would never have found the hidden spring. Her positive attitude had encouraged her to keep moving forward instead of giving up. Life slowly became easier, and the villagers began to feel hopeful again. Then, one day, something unexpected happened. The goat disappeared. The grandmother searched nearby fields and paths, but could not find it anywhere. When the villagers heard the news, they felt sorry for her and called it terrible luck. However, she remained calm and patient. Rather than becoming angry or hopeless, she believed that worrying would not change the situation. Several days later, the goat returned, and to everyone's surprise, it brought 2 other goats with it. What had appeared to be a loss had suddenly become a blessing. The villagers congratulated her and called her lucky, but once again, she simply smiled and continued her work, believing that every situation should be viewed with patience rather than immediate judgment. Not long afterward, another challenge arrived. A powerful storm swept across the village. Strong winds damaged roofs, knocked down fences, and uprooted trees. Many villagers felt discouraged once more. The grandmother's cottage was also affected, and part of her fence collapsed. Yet, instead of complaining, she began repairing the damage with whatever materials she could find. She used fallen branches to rebuild the fence and carefully cleaned her home. Seeing her determination, several neighbors decided to stop worrying and start helping one another. Soon, the entire village came together to repair houses, clear roads, and support families in need. What began as a disaster turned into an opportunity for unity and cooperation. As the weeks passed, the village recovered faster than anyone had expected. The people started noticing something important. Every time a problem appeared, the grandmother remained calm. She never ignored difficulties, but she never allowed them to control her thoughts. Her positive thinking helped her focus on solutions instead of obstacles. One evening, as the sun set behind the hills and painted the sky with golden colors, many villagers gathered near her cottage. They wanted to know how she managed to stay hopeful during difficult times The grandmother listened quietly before sharing her wisdom. She explained that positive thinking does not mean pretending that problems do not exist. Challenges are a natural part of life, and everyone faces them sooner or later. Positive thinking means choosing hope instead of fear, and action instead of helplessness. She reminded them how the drought had led to the discovery of the hidden spring, how the missing goat had returned with 2 companions, and how the storm had brought the community closer together. None of those good outcomes would have been noticed if everyone had focused only on the negative side of each situation. The villagers reflected on her words and realized she was right. They understood that while they could not control every event in life, they could control how they responded to those events. From that day forward, they tried to face their difficulties with greater optimism and courage.
Whenever problems arose, they remembered the grandmother and her faithful goat. Over the years, the story continued to be shared throughout the village, inspiring future generations. It became a reminder that a positive attitude cannot remove every obstacle, but it can give people the strength, wisdom, and determination needed to overcome them. And so the simple lesson lived on. When people choose hope, patience, and positivity, they often discover opportunities hidden within their greatest challenges. Moral of the story: a positive mindset does not change every situation, but it changes how we face it, helping us turn challenges into opportunities and difficulties into valuable lessons.